Welcome back to Talking Dragon Age, the show where I talk about Dragon Age. Today we're recapping some Dwarven theories. I had more of these than I thought I did, but also less information than I thought I did. And honestly, that's really frustrating. We need more Dwarf content. So let's start with the Stone, Titans, and Lyrium. I consider the Stone to be the embodiment of the physical world. In other words, the antithesis to the Fade. My interpretation of the Titans is that they are massive beings that are parts of the Stone. Sort of like how tectonic plates are all parts of the Earth's crust. Or maybe it would be more fair to compare them to mountains. Titans are given life by Lyrium, which is why it's been equated with blood. Blood gives life. We cannot live without it. If we lose too much, we become weak and eventually die. Same thing with the Titans. Titans can be thought of like golems on a massive scale. Instead of one dwarven soul, it's many souls. The Titans were like hive minds. I'm not going to go through all the evidence I have for that. I have many videos discussing it. Something happened that disconnected the Dwarves from the Titans. It may have been the Evanuris fighting the Titans, or it may have been Solas creating the Veil. The Titans helped shape the Deep Roads. One minor theory is that the Deep Roads are arranged like one of these memory wall things. Kal says the ancient shapers were mountains drawn of all their wills, walking their memories into valleys of the world. Also, I'm fairly confident the Avar god Korth is a Titan, or at least related to one. So, Lyrium. Lyrium is a magical substance by nature. So mages can use it to increase their mana, providing more energy with which to cast spells or otherwise manipulate the Fade. It also provides a connection to the Titans, which is why Templars can use it to block magic. It's also used for enchantments. We don't really know how this works. The origin of the shape of the runes is unknown. My theory is that it's like casting a spell, where the Lyrium's doing the heavy lifting, and the rune describes what spell is being cast.
Enchantment!
Sandal. He's uniquely talented with enchantments, and he's somehow survived onslaughts of Darkspawn and demons and abominations. While it's possible he has someone else looking out for him, it's looking more and more likely he was touched by a Titan the way Volta was. But there is one other possibility. Dagna has a conversation about being face-deep in a rune, and just for a moment, she's sort of interfaced with a Titan. That's not what she says, but I deduced that's what she experienced. So maybe Sandal experienced the same thing for longer and or more intensely. That doesn't explain the bodies we find him surrounded by, but we don't know where Sandal came from. Bodan found him in the Deep Roads. Some dwarves in Legacy apparently speculate he might be a bastard of King Endrin, and his mother may have been a human or an elf. I find elf more likely. But I don't want to spend too long on Sandal, so let's talk about... Fine, let's talk about the Shopper-Tall. I mean, they're really cool, I just keep lamenting how little information we have. Alright, so the Shopper-Tall culture is separate from the main Dwarven society. They have a Tig somewhere with more people, but we have no idea where or what they're like. Come to think of it, I wonder if they were originally one of the great lost Dwarven Tigs like Gundar? We know about Kal Sharok and Hormak. Gundar's the only one we don't really know about, so... The Shopper-Tall themselves are actually kind of similar to golems in how they are entombed in their armor. Caridin would dress a dwarf in iron and stone, lay them on the anvil, and pour molten lyrium over them, which would flow through the grooves and seal the dwarf within. The Shopper-Tall dress a dwarf in their armor and then submerge them in lyrium, like a lyrium baptism. That's hardcore. Volta explains in letters she leaves the Inquisitor that the Shopper-Tall lost their way at some point. The Titan didn't need them to defend it, and it doesn't particularly care about them. That's about all we know. But let's talk about Purity and the Gang.
Gang.
So the dwarves believe the stone is not pure. The Gang corrupts it and must be cut away. Weak-willed or disgraceful individuals returning to the stone weaken her, while those who have done good and done well strengthen her. Some are rejected by the stone. The worst criminals, traitors, evildoers, they become rock wraiths. Ren says dwarves defiled by the Blight also cannot return to the stone. That, combined with us finding rock wraiths in the primeval Tig, led me to believe the Blight was the only thing that really prevented the dwarves from returning to the stone. After all, there are a bunch of casteless whom the dwarves claim are already rejected, but we don't see them becoming rock wraiths or these phantasms we find in Orton Tig. It also doesn't seem to happen to surface dwarves. But then, the word gang is used to describe the demons in the hissing wastes you fight if you light the torches in the wrong order. Cole says they were dwarves and think they still are. That's odd. And then there's the gang Shade, a demon bound by the Legion of the Dead or something? Who freaking knows? Orzammar dwarves have very different beliefs to their cousins in Kal Sharok, who are so weird I haven't even made a video about them yet. But I'd be curious about their beliefs on the stone. Now, the Shabretal do their rituals to become pure, but Valta claims only she is actually pure after being touched by the Titan. Yeah, listen, we need more dwarven stuff, that's all I can say. I don't know how this all ties together. Okay, Tug. Tug was a spy, but we don't know who he worked for. It may have been the Shabretal culture or Kal Sharok. I lean towards Kal Sharok. And the Harvester, one of my favorite concepts that unfortunately has little content. The Harvester is from the Golems of Amgarok DLC. Basically what happened was the dwarves tried to recreate golems, but ran out of stone and iron. Somehow. So instead, they decided to slaughter the casteless and use their bodies to make the golems. They didn't know how to put a dwarf spirit into their literal abomination, or maybe they didn't know they were supposed to. So a mage from Tevinter guided a spirit into the thing. It immediately went crazy, and its head jumped off, and it slaughtered the whole Tig. The survivors made use of the Tig's Lyrium wells to... well, we don't really know what happened here. I think they caused some kind of glitch in the Veil, either shifting through different levels or allowing certain parts of the Fade to creep through. I'm going to talk about these in a minute. The Harvester was trapped in the Tig thanks to these things, until the Warden shows up, kills the Harvester, and blows up the Tig. Then, at the end, we see a bunch of Harvester heads escaping into the deep roads. We don't know if there's more than one Harvester or if a single spirit is controlling all of them at once. Either way, it seems the goal of these things is to add more corpses to themselves to grow bigger and more powerful. But where have they been since the DLC? I'd be curious how they fare against the Darkspawn, or if they'd even try to add their bodies to itself and what that would mean. These things are an awesome concept and need more content along with the rest of the dwarves. One idea: what if they went to the Grand Necropolis? So, the Lyrium wells. These things are sort of glossed over in the DLC, but the dwarves used them to somehow exert control over the Veil. Could they somehow be used against whatever threat we need to go up against in the next game? I wonder if the dwarves of Kal Sharok make use of them. Could explain how they survived the Darkspawn. So that amount does it for now. There are other theories like Valimar, but come on, we just need more dwarven stuff. This video feels like a mess, or somehow incomplete, even though I think I talked about all the information I've covered. I guess I'll make a video for Kal Sharok soon, but I can't promise it'll be very long. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you all so much for watching, don't forget to comment and like, and remember, Tla Nadas.